Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Hope you guys have been enjoying the content on the channel as of late. I just want to give, before we get into this topic, because I'm actually very excited to talk about this because I have some connections to this sort of thing. Um, I am currently on a very strict calorie defect. I'm just looking to lose some belly fat because I don't know if you guys could tell, but I'm not going to show my stomach on camera, but I definitely need to lose some weight. So my goal is hopefully to lose at least like 10 pounds of belly fat because I'm not like severely fat or anything like that. Um, but I definitely need to shave off a few pounds. Um, so with it, if anybody who's done a calorie defect knows, there is uh, an immediate, irritable attitude. So, if you notice some irritation from me, please note that that is just because I'm doing a calorie defect. Um, so I'll try to be as respectful and as just doing me, you know. So, and we're in my room once again. So just excuse some of the kind of the disheveledness. There's my window's literally right here. So just excuse all that. So we're just gonna keep it relaxed. Just keep it pretty calm here, and we're gonna talk about quite an extreme form of acting, which is of course method acting, um, which which I said up top. I do have a connection to such a thing, and um, and I'll have a video about it after this video comes up because I kind of wanted to talk about that experience because I never really got to talk about it with anybody really. I talked about it with my friends, but I just wanted to kind of put it all in context in some regards. So and it gives an excuse just to talk more film stories. Um, so because I actually do want to do more film stories because there's been some fun stuff that I would like to uh, some fun stuff just to reminisce about. Um, but in talking about method acting, this was brought up again uh, not too long ago by Brian Cox, who's one of the stars of Succession. Um, and he basically stated that he found method acting to be just ridiculous and completely nonsensical and all that sort of stuff. And there's been a lot of um, I wouldn't say bullying or anything like that, but there's been a lot of negativity towards method acting and a lot of people, who just try to skew away from that sort of thing. And I'll say as somebody who I wouldn't say I did it like correctly or whatever like that, but I definitely have dabbled within this kind of technique before with a certain film that I did in the past. And I'll talk more about it in the next video. But um, I will say just coming out of that experience, I definitely agree with what Brian Cox is saying when he says that method acting is a ridiculous thing. Um, I respect everybody's techniques. You know what I mean? I respect how anybody wishes to do, acting. If you wish to do an extreme form of it, that's perfectly fine. If you wish to do something just as simple as reading lines, then that's your prerogative. You do whatever the hell you want to do. You know what I mean? Um, but in however you choose to express yourself as the outsider of that, I'm also allowed to critique and give an opinion on said expression. And my opinion, and also as somebody who has some experience in such thing, I can say that it very much depends on your mental stability because when I did it, I was in a very bad spot, and it actually probably did more harm than good. Um, and um, it's I'll put it. This is the title. The way I titled the video. It's a it's a lost souls game. I feel like anybody who wishes to go for this extreme form, I feel like is ultimately kind of lost their own selves. Like they're not all there. It seems. Um, I mean, there's many examples of method actors out there. Daniel Day Lewis being a very famous one, Robert De Niro obviously being another famous one, Al Pacino. Um, there's some who claim to be method actors, and method acting is not about costumes and losing weight and all that sort of stuff. That's not what method acting is. That's just I would say character acting more or less. People who do the losing of the weight, or putting on a shit ton of weight, or doing all the crazy makeup stuff like that. For me, that's just character acting. Method acting is a mental uh, is a mental state. It is a state of staying within the character's mindset. And I know some people will say that it's oh well, it doesn't have to be that way, or it's not necessarily that way. But at least from my experience, it was staying within a certain aura, a certain feeling. Um, it's basically just losing your mind, basically, like just going insane. Um, and there's been some examples of that where I definitely can see people who definitely are hitting on that kind of technique, like Daniel Day Lewis. I think is a great example of what method acting truly is. It's somebody who is he's not pretending to be someone else. I mean, he is, but it's a very extreme mental leap where he is duping himself into believing that he is this kind of person, versus having that mental context that, oh yeah, well, I am who I am. It's letting yourself go to your art, essentially. And um and for someone who's been through that kind of thing, it not as extreme as obviously professionals. um it's very damning. It's very it's scary. I mean, obviously, um I would never do that thing ever again. But um, but I can get why someone wants to do it. Maybe from an artistic point of view. Would I recommend that you do it? Absolutely not. I think that it's very scary. There's a lot of mental consequences to going to dabbling in that kind of way. Um, it is in the from the outside a very fun thing to do. Like, oh, I get to just engulf myself into a particular role. I mean, yeah, it seems fun, but it's really not. It's very scary. It's very time consuming, and at least for me anyway. Like I said, it feels like a lost souls game. It feels like someone who is actually dealing with severe. It seems to me like people who are dealing with like trauma, or dealing with like depression or anything else. They kind of it's why it seems much easier for them to get into to let themselves go, because they're already lost themselves. That's why you see why Daniel Day Lewis is so is makes it so easy to to transition from one role to the next and be that kind of person, because he's stated in interviews that that he faces great deals of depression while doing these roles and all that sort of stuff, because I presume that he has lots of things going on in his own personal life, or at least within his own personal self. um, and that's why it's easier for him to do such things, because he's very vulnerable. um, I don't think that Daniel Day Lewis today would be able to do the things that Daniel Day Lewis of yesterday was able to do, because he probably has more stability. He's probably more firm. He has a lot more confidence. Like, if you're doing method acting, I presume it has to be because there's something deeply I won't say something deeply wrong, but there's something that needs to be dealt with. And you're using acting as a form of therapy in a very extreme um, type position. At least an observation for me. That's why I also personally just stepped away from acting, because I didn't want to be uh, I didn't want it to become exploitative, or having to, like, you know use my feelings for a certain type of purpose, manipulating my feelings within the context of a character and stuff like that. Like, it can get mentally pretty crazy, and especially when it comes to method acting, there's a great mental challenge at state at play. And I'll tell my story about my experience with it um, in the next video. But there's been a lot of people who've bashed on it, and I think they have legitimate claims. I think there's some people who come defense for it. A lot of those, like, artsy fartsy type guys. And it's not about the art, really. What it is about how that person what that person is doing, and ultimately why, and then the consequences of doing such a thing, you know. um, like it's it seems fun, but it's really not, you know. It's like, the way I equate it is like, it's like you're going to war, you know. Like, once you come out, you have to really, you know, collect yourself, you know. It's not something that you can just, you know, just turn off, you know. If you can, then you're not really doing it, I think. If you're if you're if you walk away from set and it still kind of haunts you a little bit, um, or at least that aura, that presence, it's like almost kind of like being possessed in some regards. Um, if you're not able to shake that off that easily, then I think that you're in the right place. When you're able to shake it off that easily, then you're probably not in the right place. So, because character acting is not method acting. Character acting is literally physical. Method acting is all about a mental state. So, um, so I strongly recommend, as someone who's been through it, you know, or at least a form of it, um, I would strongly recommend to anybody who is getting into acting and all that sort of stuff, do not do this. Okay? Do not. Okay? Like, just read the lines, okay? Or even do some character acting if you want to. Like, maybe put on some clothes or whatever like that to really get you into that mindset. But don't let yourself go mentally. It is a very scary thing. And my experience was, um, I would say it was spiritual, but I mean, I think that I'm just kind of trying to compensate. I think I'm trying to compensate for my actions, because I think what was really going on was I was experiencing like mania or some form of insanity. So, and I'll give more details about it in the next video. Um, but but yeah, do not do it. It is a very scary thing. I literally had my theater teacher tell me no, and I'll explain more about why in the next video. Um, but yeah, don't do it. Do not do it. Please, like, please don't. So, because it will hurt you. You'll Some people have not recovered from it. Some people have gone to therapy for it. Um, like, really don't do it. It's highly unnecessary. Just read the lines. Understand that you're just there to play pretend. You're not there to actually be the character. So I understand to a certain degree, but I still say, I personally, from my own experience, just no, don't do it. So so that's my take on it. I know some people like to not like, but I know some people misinterpret what method acting is. They like to equate it to character acting. It's not. It's a mental state. It's a state that once you're in it, it's hard to get out. You know what I mean? Like, it's it's challenging. It's very challenging. Um, so and I'll talk more about my experience in the next video. But for anybody who, I'm curious if there's any like people um, who watch these videos who's into like acting and stuff like that. I'm curious if you guys have ever dabbled with method acting before. I know that theater teachers like to shun method acting. They don't really like to talk about it too much. But um, curious if you guys have ever dabbled with method acting before. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And just in general, what are you guys' thoughts on method acting? Do you guys think what I think, where I'm just like, don't do it? Like, just really don't, you know? Worry more about yourself than, than, you know, getting it right, you know? So, um, but you guys want to know your thoughts in the comment section below. And that's going to be it for me, guys. Thank you guys for watching. And next video, you guys know I'll be talking about my experience with that. And let me know your experiences if you've had any. And yeah, so that's it for this video, guys. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video.